Dodge hasn't had a compact sedan in their lineup since 2005. A bit of a hole during a fuel-conscious era, wouldn't you say? And they haven't used the Dart nameplate since 1976. It's way back in their past. Until now. Let's drive the 2013 Dodge Dart, completely new. Check the tech, see how the resurrection's going. Now, to say the Dodge Dart's a completely new, clean sheet design is not exactly true. It's based on Europe's Alfa Romeo Giulietta, which several models are built on. Remember, Fiat owns Chrysler now. But this car is thoroughly American in its manufacture. The car is built in Toledo, Ohio. The engines come out of a plant in Dundee, Michigan. And it's got a much more American look than its European counterparts. Much more weaponized than, say, the Fiat Viaggio, which is also a stablemate. One of the first things Dodge had to get done was to say something in the cabin. And this has a very stylized cabin. Especially at this price point, you've got a nice design language here. Some of the materials are a little flimsy, but that can often be a first-year model thing. But of course, your eyes are drawn to the main event, the 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen. This is not standard on this car, but at the rally trim, I doubt you'll find many of these on lots that don't have it. So let's go that way. Interesting how they've taken almost a tablet approach, a persistent ribbon of functions at the bottom. Think of those as your apps, basically, though you don't install them. They're all part of the car. AM, FM, and sat radio, no HD radio, a little disappointing there. On the player side, you get all your other sources. Your optical disc is seen here in the console, very strange, facing up where it's dying to intake a big gulp. So they put a little door on it to keep that from happening. USB is also in there, as is SD card. I'm never going to use SD card. I'd rather they give me HD radio instead, but that's what I'm left with. And of course, standard hardware aux jack and Bluetooth streaming. The Bluetooth streaming does not give me metadata, at least not on an Android 4.0.4 phone. As we get to navigation, you've seen this guy before on Chrysler and Mopar products. It's the big, goofy, preschool-looking Garmin nav. But don't laugh, this is the highest rated navigation system according to J.D. Power, I think, in terms of usability. You put consumers in here who are not hoity-toity geeks, and they say, yeah, I like it, I get it. But let's say you want to use voice command. That button's over here on the far left. And the way the Dart works is, anything you see on here is valid voice text. I like that. It doesn't pop up another menu when you hit the voice button to give you the things you can say. 235 2nd Street, San Francisco, California.
Did you say 235 2nd Street,
1.
Would you like to begin?
Yes. And that's how it works. See it, say it. It's a good idea. But the real question all this begs is, that interface on the screen is so simple, do you need voice command for it? As I was using voice to drive it, I don't think I was saving really any mental cycles. It was keeping my hands on the wheel, but it wasn't reducing my concentration on the task. In fact, the voice is a little more complex, I think, than just reaching out and touching that. Now here's an odd frustration, kind of like in Acuras until very recently. You have 2 voice buttons. All voice commands for everything but phone are this one, like I just showed you. If you want to do a voice command for the phone, you have to press the phone button. That's not elegant. Now sometimes in a cheap little car, the little things are what matter the most, not the upholstery. What's under it? A smuggler's box under the passenger's butt. So crafty it makes anything in it look suspicious. Or it is. Okay, to the engine room on the new Dart. Your base motor would be a 2-liter inline-4, fairly conventional stuff. This is not that. This is an unconventional, little itty-bitty 1.4-liter inline-4, turbocharged, intercooled, not going out to the standard 6-speed manual or even a 6-automatic, but to a 6-speed dual-clutch automated manual. There's a whole lot and a very little amount of tech under the hood in this car. 160 horsepower, same as the base engine, but on the torque, very different. 184 foot-pounds. That's more than 30 above the base motor. 0 to 60, about 8.2 seconds, nearly 2 seconds faster than the base engine car, and delivering 2737 mpg, because them little cylinders don't and can't drink much. But as I've taught you many times, specs and numbers on paper don't mean responsiveness on the road. Let's go find out which we have here. Well, the overriding experience of driving a Dodge Dart with this powertrain is one of a question mark. The question is, how are the pedal, the engine, and the transmission communicating? A apparently via US mail, because there's enormous delays between sending the message and it being received. This is not a responsive powertrain. Power delivery is rubbery and real loopy feeling. It's almost like you've got a CVT, a continuously variable transmission, but instead we have this dual clutch manual, but it's not a well executed one. As a result, it's not a car you like to drive hard because you don't know when you're going to get power or deceleration, certainly not when you call for it with your right foot. Let's try an experiment. I'm going to accelerate here on the gas, and when I let off, I'm going to say off, and you'll see what the RPM does. Off. It's a shame because the suspension and undercarriage of this thing feels rather nicely done. Firm enough to be sporty, but not so tight that it's spending a portion of its time airborne. It's a car that feels like more than its high tens of thousands of dollars base. But this powertrain, this particular one, to me is a killer. Luckily, there are the two others that are quite different architectures, so you've got a chance to sort this car out by ordering it with something a lot more responsive and a lot more, shall we say, delivering on the promise of that sheet metal on the outside. Okay, pricing. I'd be angry at the Dart if it weren't so damn cheap and stylish. $18,995 for this Rally, which is near the top of the line. Then nickel and dime your way to go CNET style. $595 for the Uconnect interface, the big screen. $500 more for nav, iPod, SD card, and USB. $300 more for voice command and Bluetooth. In all, this car is under $25 delivered, though I would run, not walk, from that powertrain. Too little displacement and too many clutches. Wait for the 2.4-liter Tiger Shark engine, which will be the new top motor, and try that with a 6-speed manual.